Our topic today is winning new clients through contractor engagement. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Sense, you've probably seen us do dozens of webinars that talk about what talent engagement is all about, what's the new paradigm of that, how do you do text messaging, what do you do using a chat bot, what do you do using referrals. We've talked a lot about products, and we've talked a lot about the paradigm and the changing world of contractor engagement. But we wanted to take a very different spin today. It's become apparent over the last 5 to 6 years of working with customers that an actual automation and engagement platform like Sense can actually help you win clients. It can actually help you increase sales. It can actually help you create a big differentiator in your RFP. So what we've done today is invited two of old-time Sense clients who have done this very, very elegantly. Both Brad over at TalentBurst and Mick over at Dahl Consulting have been using Sense not just for talent engagement, but for client engagement and for increasing their revenue. So we'll get much deeper into this particular topic via a conversation with both of them. But firstly, I'd love to introduce you to both of them. So with that, Brad, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone, and thank you, Pankaj. I really appreciate Sense inviting me to present at this webinar alongside Mick. My name is Brad Talwar. I'm the founder and CEO of TalentBurst. TalentBurst is a provider of workforce management solutions. We have two different sides of our business. One is our legacy IT engineering and life sciences staffing business. And the second, more recent side of our business, which has grown dramatically over the past 10 or 12 years, is a global EOR with a specialization in high hazard payroll, as well as independent contractor validation and compliance. We're headquartered in Boston.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brad. Mick?
Hey, everyone, and thank you, Pankaj. My name is Mick Doherty. I'm the vice president with Dahl Consulting. We're a second generation family-owned business located out of Minneapolis, but have served the 48 states of the U.S. at different points. We do everything from MSPs, VMS, payrolling, and staffing as well, too. And looking forward to the conversation today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mick. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Pankaj. I am one of the founders of Sense. Started the company around 5.5 years ago. And before that, spent 15 years running different staffing companies. So very much come from your world, very much come from this industry. And with that, I'll actually tell you a little bit more about Sense. Again, I hope a lot of you are using us today already, but for those of you who are not, like I said, we started 5.5 years ago with the single vision of building the first talent engagement platform for the staffing industry. And we've stayed really true to that mission so far. We have now over 500 customers, every single one of which is a staffing firm. Also, when we started, we did some heavy lifting and plumbing work, which wasn't sexy at the time, right up front. And the proof of that is in the pudding. We now work with 6 of the top 10 staffing firms in the US. These are all multi-billion-dollar firms that I'm sure you're familiar with, and about a third of the largest staffing companies in the US. These are companies with over $100 million in revenue as recognized by SIA every year. A third of them are active Sense clients. Along this journey, we've raised about $40 million in funding from some really blue chip investors, Google, Axel, and Avatar, all of whom sit on our board. And then there are 3 pillars on which our platform rests today. The first is growth. How do we help you get more candidates in the top of your funnel, which helps you make more placements? And then that simply increases your revenue. Interestingly, today we will be talking a lot about how you can increase your revenue by simply just growing your customer base, winning new clients using a platform like Sense. Retention talks about helping you make more money from the people that you already have. So redeploying them, making sure that they don't drop off, making sure that your offer to start ratios improve. So essentially improving your bottom line. And then automation is all about taking busy work out of your recruiters. If you are dealing with thousands of candidates that you have to screen, how can a chatbot help you do that? How can our Engage system automatically update your database so your recruiters can get more time to talk to human beings, either a candidate or a client? So that's the foundation of Sense. With that, Brad, I'll invite you to tell us a little bit more about TalentBurst.
Sure. So TalentBurst, we're headquartered in Boston. Like I'd mentioned, we're a provider of workforce management solutions. We used to be a staffing company, but we've since evolved. And I'm sorry, there seems to be a landscape guy outside my window, but that just kind of happens. We're a certified minority-owned business. We currently have over 2,000 contractors. We are global because we have divisions in Puerto Rico, Canada, and India. And through both sides of our business, we are providing technology and engineering services, life sciences staffing, as well as global EOR services to about 130 of the global 2,000 corporations. As Pankaj had kind of showcased, we are supporting about 15 of the top 50 on the global and the Fortune 500 list. And we've been recognized by our MSP partners. We are the 2021 Allegis Global Solutions Supplier of the Year. We also were given the Diverse Supplier of the Year by Allegis. For the past 10 years, Pro Unlimited has recognized us as either a gold or a platinum supplier, and so have multiple other MSPs. 2 years ago, we were also Western Union Supplier of the Year, and we continue to receive awards from several of the large Fortune 500 clients that we have. We partner with both MSPs as well as we work directly with procurement teams embedded inside accounts or inside customers. And we are, a prominent provider of high touch services to these clients because we really try and provide white glove service, including, of course, balancing the rates. And about 3 years ago, we started specializing in providing contingent workforce solutions for app-based companies. So we have expertise in high velocity hiring, and of course, we use Sense workflows at the heart of our automation to engage with that very vast contractor population.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brad. And Mick, if you can tell us a little bit more about Dahl.
Yeah, so again, Dahl is Minnesota-based. We're the largest privately held staffing firm, fourth largest woman-owned business. So we are a certified, WeBank certified organization. Dahl was started in 1993 primarily as a IT staffing firm. That the growth came mostly from the client's needs, expanded in the early 2000s to stand up MSPs. So we've been an MSP provider for about almost 20 years now. And through that, partnered initially with the VMS offering, and now actually have proprietary home-built VMS tool approved that we offer to our clients as well. Our staffing side is our go-to-market and differentiator is more from a where we're able to cover a lot of different positions. So our service offering is being able to support large volume, large organizations from their IT, accounting and finance, business professional, customer service positions, and also partner with our sister company, Doherty Staffing, for light industrial needs. So what we're able to provide is really a total talent management solution where companies will utilize our full MSP offering with our VMS, our payrolling solutions, as well as then our staffing that's able to support them in almost every single area. Our model is more supporting large volume companies. So right now we do support 12 of the 16 Fortune 500 companies in Minnesota. So we are localized to the Midwest. We are active in 43 states right now. And so another area as well too is our payrolling solutions, where we are employer of record for W-2 and independent contractors, more on the professional side.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. So, to everybody who's with us on the webinar, with that, I'm going to start talking about the need for this webinar itself, right? I mean, as you can probably, relate to, the world has changed in the last 12 to 18 months. And, everybody is now looking to differentiate themselves on how they are going to provide talent, how they're going to win more buyers. And we've heard several stories along the way. We've heard stories about people, winning RFPs by leveraging some of the data from Sense. We've also heard stories about buyers coming back to staffing companies and saying, hey, how do you treat your contractors? What do you do for them? Because we want to work with staffing companies that treat them well. We also hear about MSP, environments that Brad was talking about, where oftentimes you're only allowed to submit 1 or 2 resumes per position. And every MSP program might have 50 suppliers. Even if you're submitting 1 or 2 resumes, the hiring manager could get 50 to 100 people. They probably don't even want that. So oftentimes a hiring manager is saying, I'll just take the first 10 resumes, put the position on hold after that. Let me go through the first 10 resumes first. So you have to be fast. You have to be among the first 10 people, but you obviously can't just post and pray. You can't just throw stuff on the wall and hope it sticks. You do have to send your best person, but you have to send it fast. So again, just a cookie cutter sort of place for technology to come in and help out. So as it turns out, a lot of these things obviously can be done via Sense, but we hadn't taken the time to collate our customers or survey our customers and find out how many of them are actually using Sense to grow their business. And when we did, I mean, some really clear trends came out that we just hope to share with our community and our customers. And that's what Brad and Mick are here for. So from this point forward, you're going to hear a lot less of me and a lot more of Brad and Mick. My role here is to just ask them questions and get into the details of asking more and more probing stuff. So hopefully there are good takeaways for all of you. So with that, I'll start with my first question, which is all about differentiation. This is exactly why somebody would choose to work with you. So how do you guys differentiate yourself from the competition? I mean, what are you leveraging as your competitive edge? So Mick, maybe I'll throw that out to you first.
Yeah, thank you, Pankaj. In 2017 was when we really started trying to define of who we are and what differentiates us from the competition. And there's a study out there. It's I believe 94% of companies say they differentiate themselves based on customer service. Which, when everyone is saying that, well, what are you truly doing to differentiate yourselves from that? It's been difficult because for a long time that customer service has not been really quantifiable. But what we've been able to do through Sense and through Net Promoter Scores is be able to build out a consultant engagement plan. And it's been something that we have been able to track to show our Net Promoter Scores of our consultants on assignment and how it's significantly stronger than the competition out there. And the awards that have come from it as well, too, being a best of staffing for talent and client recipient. What that does is it helps to show our clients our retention numbers and how long our consultants will stay on assignment and the likelihood that they complete their assignments and refer us other talent. And, obviously that's great for our business, but what that means for the client is that our people are staying on through their assignments, which means they don't have that open seat, the cost to reopen that position, the cost to retrain, the cost to have someone working overtime to try to cover that open seat as well too. And so to be able to go to a client and provide them that confidence that we're going to have strong talent that's going to stay on through that full completion of that assignment and likely refer in additional talent as well too is something that we utilize pretty aggressively in our RFPs.
Awesome. Super helpful. Brad, how about you guys?
Pankaj, we have focused very heavily over the last 15 years on 2 key areas within our for our employees. One is retentions and 2 is redeployments. I'm going to start with redeployments because that's the simplest place. You've got existing contractors that are finishing up an assignment that are essentially reference checked. We know how they've done. We know how efficient they are, whether they submit their timesheets on time, how their managers like them, what is their feedback in terms of performance, et cetera. So what we were seeing is prior to deploying Sense, we were redeploying about 3 to 5% of our workforce. And this is up until, I'm just rewinding the clock in my mind, 2018. Then we implement Sense and we start setting up workflows to engage these workers that are rolling off, such as exit surveys. And that started providing us really important information around how can we redeploy these people. And because they're very amenable to working closely with us, they'll take our recruiters' calls, they'll respond to our emails, they'll respond to our text messages, because we're a known commodity for them. And in addition to that, they know they'll get paid with us because we have 99.95% accuracy on payment for their payrolls. Right. So once we started deploying this, what we saw is there was a steady uptick, and now we're redeploying 15% of all our workers that are rolling off assignment. So this did take 36 months, but we also saw a significant uptick over the pandemic.
That's amazing. That's almost tripling your redeployment rate.
Correct. It took us 36 months to get there, but we eventually are there right now. The other thing that we also saw is that by engaging with our workers, we have about 60 workflows that are currently set up in Sense. Some are dynamic and some are static. So a static workflow would be that every Friday at noon, every single active contractor gets a text message from us. Hey, happy Friday. Don't forget, you have to submit your timesheets today by 5 p.m. So that's just a static workflow. And then dynamic workflows are more targeted, maybe client specific or geography specific, or maybe in case of like a hurricane or a flood or whatever the case might be, more of an emergency outreach kind of a scenario. So with, more kind of engagement with the workforce via Sense, we've definitely seen that our extension timeframe, which is our involuntary turnover, has actually reduced. So that for us is huge because that means the length of our assignments that the workers on are longer. We're generating more revenue dollars from them, which directly leads to more revenue generation for the overall business. So both these very key metrics, which kind of go hand in hand, retention as well as redeployment, have both trended very positively for us with Sense over the last 36 months.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you. Thanks for shedding that light. But let me get to the heart of what I think everybody on this webinar wants to hear about, right? I mean, everybody is interested in probably learning how exactly are you winning new clients. So can you maybe like share a story with us, like actually get some more specific, as specific as you're allowed to get, but share a story with us on a win where your talent platform, Sense in this case, actually helped or played a huge role in winning an RFP. So, Mickey, again, I'll maybe throw this back at you first.
Yeah, sure. We actually just had a presentation last week. A client was looking just to utilize one resource because they were having a large upcoming migration project. And so they brought us in to present as well as a few other firms. And what we were able to showcase outside of just our history of supporting these types of projects was the differentiating data. And again, it was talking about what we do to value our consultants and how we keep them engaged through their life cycle. And so we actually walked them through our consultant engagement plan. Something our director of staffing has built out. It's something that we actually have for both our sourced staffing consultants as well as our payroll consultants too. And it shows from the beginning of their journey with us through their full life cycle, all the different touch points that we have, automated ones. As Brad mentioned, the different check-ins of just reminders to get your hours in, but just the softer touches of, how's your weekend going? Any issues you have? Hey, can we hop on a quick call? When are you available? Just a lot of automated touch points to make sure people are engaged and sending them that NPS to. And if they're coming back with a negative score, it's an opportunity for us to capture that frustrated consultant and either coach them up, find out what the root of their issues are, or ultimately replace them and have that time that position's open be as limited as possible for our client. And we're happy that we were able to win, and that was our key differentiator. I should share too, it is something that from payrolling, I think a lot of companies struggle with how do you differentiate yourselves when going through a payrolling RFP. It seems like so much of the competition now is just, it comes down to pricing. Obviously trying to sell the independent contractor audits and the protections of everyone under one contract and what you can do as an employer, but the benefit offerings as well too. But same thing, we're actually able to show our on programs that we've come in and taken over, what that retention rate of our consultants is moving forward over the next years versus what it was previously, and showing ours is significantly higher for that reason as well too, because of the engagement that we have even with payroll consultants to keep them happy. And as you're seeing with this tight market right now, keeping people happy and keeping them in their roles is a lot more difficult than ever before. And so having tools to automate part of that journey is significant. I will say that we don't quite have 60 workflows like Brad does. We're working on getting there.
Thank you. And Brad, I know you guys actually won like a pretty large RFP recently. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how that came about.
Sure. I'm happy to share as much as I can. So in summer of last year, we were invited to bid as one of 5 suppliers. The other 4 suppliers were all billion-dollar corporations, probably amongst the biggest in the world. The incumbent was the biggest staff aug company in the world. And we were the fifth, so we're not a billion-dollar corporation. And essentially, our client is a key Apple component supplier. And they were also part of Operation Warp Speed as part of the response team for the pandemic, and had received, a significant grant from the federal government. There were a couple of projects that were pandemic related where they essentially needed to fast forward like right away. So we presented to them in our final presentation, 50% of our presentation was focused on TalentBurst's technology stack. We used 13 different technologies, of which Sense is one. However, we devoted a significant amount of time to contractor engagement and redeployment, which I briefly talked about previously. And our client, as well as the entire procurement team, spent a significant amount of time talking to us about how do we engage our talent. And now we, in our database, which is TalentBurst's own database, we have 16 million profiles. So how do we engage and activate 16 million profiles and keep them kind of semi-warm so that when they receive a notification from us, whether it's an email or a text message, these people actually respond to our recruiters? Because as we know, there's many different ATS platforms out there. There's several thousands of companies trying to connect with the same, talent and the same individual. We want to make sure that these people actually respond to us and engage with us. So we showcased some of the workflows that we have set up in Sense that are the dynamic workflows. A couple of those workflows were pandemic related. So what was our outreach during the pandemic? Now, every single state in the US where we have workers in all 50 states, had different rules and regulations, different lockdown procedures. We were able to communicate with all these workers in all those different states using the dynamic workflows, which were very focused on either the zip code, the phone area code, or specifically the state as it was in our database. Now, Sense is integrated via APIs into our database, so we're able to extract data from our ATS platform into Sense, and then utilize that to reach out to our workforce. So the procurement teams at our client were actually really kind of fascinated by how we're leveraging the data within our ATS into Sense and then pushing out that data into the workflows. So that really helped us. We were able to, we did win that award, and it's a fairly sizable, single vendor on premise, staffing focused program. And we're happy, we've since gone live, we did a lift and shift with the incumbent. And, so far the client's actually been extremely happy with having picked us because we're continuing to utilize Sense. We are running monthly kind of workflows where we're extracting feedback from people that are voluntarily or involuntarily leaving, and we're showcasing and sharing that data as well as that feedback with the customer on an instant basis. So actually I have a call with them tomorrow at 9:30, and we're going to showcase the most recent data that we had from serving just under 150 people in the past 4 weeks. So that's, Sense worked out really nicely because it kind of was a huge differentiator within our tech stack compared to some of the other companies that presented.
That's amazing. What a cool story. I mean, one of the things I was going to, share with the audience is, so, what you just heard Brad and Mick say, I think one of the key takeaways from that is buyers are always going to choose companies that have strong candidate engagement. We have heard this time and time again, with the gig economy sort of just increasing on a daily basis. There is very little difference between a full-time employee and a contractor. Even companies like Google, Microsoft, 50% of the people who work there are now contractors. So these are no longer people who are only doing non-essential, non-important stuff. These are still people who are actually checking in source code. They're helping build Google and Microsoft products. So naturally, buyers are going to be worried about whether these people are happy, which means are they engaged properly or not. And that's exactly the kind of information that Brad was referring to, that you can literally take right from Sense, take it over to your client and say, hey, there's no way for us to alter this information. Here you go. We put our money where our mouth is, and we can show you exactly what we do for our people. So that's probably a huge takeaway when it comes to winning new clients. The second thing that I want to touch upon is metrics. What exactly are the buyers looking for? What kind of metrics does a buyer look to say, hey, I'm going to award this to Brad's company, who is not a billion-dollar corporation, and 5 other companies are bigger, better, so on and so forth. But why would I award it to these guys? So again, this is a question back for both of you. I mean, when you think about the life cycle of a brand new deal, what do your decision makers care about? I mean, what is the kind of metrics that they're looking for? Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. So there's 2 things. I know I've talked already about retention and redeployment. So those metrics are definitely very important. But another really key metrics that our staffing customers are looking for is, what is your ratio of submissions to interviews and then interviews to hire? And then also, what's your involuntary turnover? Why are people leaving? Especially now if you are a provider of any kind of talent in the supply chain right now, which is primarily light industrial type talent, we all know that it's super tough to hire those people. So every procurement team is looking at the metrics. How many resumes are you submitting? How many people are getting eventually hired? And how many people are leaving, and for what reasons are they leaving? So we're able to extract the reasons why these people are leaving, whether it's a higher rate, whether it's the stimulus, whether it's a better paying job, whether it's a promotion. We can extract all of that through Sense, either during the assignment or right at the point of exit. So we run an exit interview utilizing Sense, and then we have all these preset questions that we're able to extract the data and then compile it in a dashboard, because Sense allows us to dashboard all of this stuff and then present it to the client.
Got it. Awesome. Mick, how about you?
Yeah, we've touched on a few of them so far already. The positive attrition or completed assignments, and so we look at positive attrition of completed assignments are hired on by client versus quits or terms, and so that's a percentage that we constantly highlight to show us versus the overall market. Same thing too when we're working on RFPs for pay-based or set pay positions, where it's a class of maybe a call center or something like that. We're really showing them data of what we're seeing at that exact pay rate in the market versus what we're seeing just for $1 more. So trying to educate the client too, because ultimately that's a role and responsibility of our firms. 2 others though that we're pretty often being asked is that the concept of, well, you're all picking from the same pool, so how do you differentiate yourself from that pool? And for us, it's having, again, the consultants' experience, our reviews online, highlighting that we're getting people to come in and hire referrals, and then our payrolling arm as well too gets us hundreds of consultants that come in, join Dahl, join our benefits as well too, and want to stay on with us. So they're not actually joining that talent pool. And then one, as I'm sure most agencies on right now are feeling right now too, are what are your diversity initiatives? What's the diversity of your talent pool right now? What what partners, what channels, what other networks are you using to capture talent that maybe has not been utilized by firms in the past? So, the benefits again from Sense from this has been able to drive different initiatives, to put different drip campaigns out there, reaching out to our former candidates and working with different partners to try to capture more referrals as well too.
Yeah. And, I mean, in my past life, I used to work a lot with MSPs, and I know that, they absolutely want to track, like you guys said, submittal to hire ratios, interview to hire ratios, how many people showed up on their first day, what's your attrition, they even probably want to do surveys and find out what you think about the staffing company, so on and so forth. I know both of you have like some really good stats around this. Mick, I know you had talked about what industry averages around this look like. So, maybe you tell us a little bit more about what those look like. But I'm really curious if you have any story around, hey, this is what our average was before Sense, and now these are the kind of things that the buyers are watching, and what has that done for your business?
Yeah, there's 3 types of submittal to hire ratios out there that firms can submit these numbers through ASA and through Tech Serve Alliance as well too, and so they'll up these reports every year. And you have your non-touch VMSs, you have the relationship-based MSPs, and then you have your direct sourcing clients. And so for a non-touch VMS, your typical submittal to hire rate, the averages out there is about 4%. For a relationship-based MSP where there's less competition, that number is at 10%, so 1 out of every 10 submittals. Then your direct sourcing clients is at more of a 33%. Our organization as a whole was mostly playing in that non-touch VMS space for a long time. And so our rates were in that 4%, right around there. And we've since moved a little bit more into the touch MSP, but still the majority of our business is supporting clients through non-touch VMSs. And right now, we're actually at 11.3% for our hit rate, wow. Which for firms that are out there that are only working direct with clients, they might go, that's awful. We want to be at 40%, but for us working in a space where, we're on average working between 5 and 10 vendors on a position to be at 11.3% is significantly stronger than the competition out there. And it's why on the MSPs that we're on, we're significantly getting moved to that tier 1 and sometimes the exclusive tier 1 vendor in those programs. I guess just for, that's really the big data numbers that we're constantly looking at. And so
and like Brad was talking about earlier, the really cool part here is that once you do well with one MSP, if you become the tier 1 vendor there, they probably take you to 7 other clients, right? So this isn't just, hey, I did really well with one client. You can then become a gold supplier or a platinum supplier, and you are literally invited to RFP across all of their customers.
Yeah, it's a lot of firms we're seeing are trying to stay away from it. I understand why. Obviously, again, those submittal to higher rates, the constant driving down of markups. These programs, though, our team is kind of built for this model of being able to show up on a whole litany of different types of positions, that speed to market, being able to utilize, again, a tool like Sense to be able to, the second we get an opportunity, reach out to hundreds and thousands of former candidates, again, for referrals, or ideally seeing if they're still active in the market and being able to get them out as quickly as possible.
Awesome. Brad, anything to add on this?
Pankaj, we are utilizing Sense in a slightly different mechanism also. Earlier this year, we realized that over the last 12 months, our requisition flow was up 40%. Now, we have not been able to hire 40% more recruiters because, as we all know, there's a talent crunch.
Right.
So what we had to do is we had to get really smart about what requisitions are the teams that are working them supporting, and which customers are we really getting the best ROI from. So what we did is we extracted a lot of this data backwards, and we kind of looked at it and said, okay, who are the worst clients? Who are the clients where we're pushing in 100 submittals and we're getting 5 interviews or 4 interviews and 1 hire? We don't want those clients. We want the clients where we're pushing in, say, 10 submittals, we're getting 3 or 4 interviews and 2 or 3 hires, right? So similar metrics like what Mick mentioned. And what we realized is we quickly compiled basically a list of 10 bottom feeder clients that we don't want them. So we actually terminated their agreements with us, and we resigned from those either direct hire or MSP clients. 2 of those clients actually came back to us. They had an MSP, but the heads of procurement reached out to us directly and said, please don't resign from our programs because we really value you, because TalentBurst is a top tier supplier in the industry. And secondly, we want to sit down with you at a round table with our HR teams and figure out what is wrong with our program. Why does our program suck? Why are these horrible metrics out there? So sat down with one client. Quickly, they realized that their managers were not on board. They were backdooring everything. So that was pretty quick for us to point out because we had plenty of proof to do that. But the second one, we've actually emailed them some of the stats that we've extracted and said, here's the data that I'm not sure if you're looking in your VMS system or maybe you're not being able to extract it, but this is the data that we're sending you. And this is the reason why we're walking away from this. So now they're actually kind of processing it and we'll see how they do. But, at the end of the day, I'm running a business to make money for myself. I'm not doing charity work for my clients. So if I'm not making money off my clients, I'm out. So yeah.
No, that's exactly what the conversation today is about, right? We are living in a very different world now.
Yeah.
And we absolutely need to figure out how do you differentiate yourself and how do you make money?
Yeah. Brad, we actually had a similar conversation as well too with a VMS client, same thing that, I love to be able to lead with data. And we were able to go to the client and show, look, here's 10 similar firms that we're supporting, take off the names, obviously, but here's our submittals, interviews, and placements on all these different, and showing our averages for them are almost pretty much identical. And a few of them was the same MSP, just had different clients. And it's going, now look at this one, where we're having absolutely no success. It's not due to lack of effort. Look, our submittals are still there, but we're not getting anyone across the finish line. Obviously, there's something that's broken here. I mean, there was a whole litany of things that we were able to have discussions on, but it was able to be able to have that data to be able to go show them. It made it a lot easier than just off the cuff being just, conversationally saying, hey, this isn't working, to be able to actually show them, look, it's not working and it is working elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So one of the questions we got along the way was, what ATS does Dahl use with Sense? So I'll take that. So Mick's company uses Bullhorn. Brad's company uses JobDiva. And then Mick's sister company, Doherty Consulting, they actually have Aviante. And this is just to say that Sense is pretty agnostic when it comes to ATSs. We now integrate with 14 different ATSs. So chances are that if you're using a staffing industry ATS, that we integrate with it. And we also have our own open API. So if you are in a homegrown system, we have customers today that have over $500 million in revenue. That's to say they're large companies, but they're still using homegrown systems. We can absolutely integrate with those as well. So anyway, quick takeaway from here. Analytics are going to be super crucial in your RFPs. You are going to get tons and tons of analytics from Sense. If you're a current user, you can probably attest to that. Any metric in your business that you care about is probably something that we are tracking. And if we are not tracking, we are also able to do that on a custom basis. But you can take literally all of this data to your client and show people, like in the graph here on the right-hand side, what your redeployment looks like, how many people are starting assignments versus ending assignments, are people staying with your company longer than they were staying before, so on and so forth. But there are all kinds of data that you can pull in from here. Now, speaking of data, one thing that I want to get more, deeper into is sort of, things around, net promoter scores and just sort of consultant engagement plans. So, to find out what actually resonates with buyers. So, Mick, I was going to ask you, I mean, you've shared, Sense has a really sort of interesting consultant engagement plan with you that focuses on retention. So maybe talk to us a little bit about, like, how do you use this data and what kind of data resonates with your buyers?
Yeah, so we've obviously spoken a fair amount on, again, the assignments completed percentage, but Net Promoter Score is an area that we really highlight with our clients, and it's something that we're focusing on consistently. Just real quickly, for anyone not familiar with Net Promoter Score, it's that survey that you get when you buy anything online, when you go and buy something through Amazon, that quick one question survey that comes to you saying, how likely are you to refer X company to friends or colleagues? It's that score on your 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 that shows someone's either a promoter or a detractor. And so that's something that we send out to our consultants early on in their engagement, as well as at the end of their engagement, whether they quit or complete their assignment as well too. We're also sending that to our clients at that same time period as well. What that does is it helps highlight to, again, if we have anyone that's a detractor, we're able to have conversations with them and either replace them or fix whatever concerns they have, which is a value add to our clients. But there's certain data behind it too that we're able to share with our clients, that promoters are twice as likely to complete their assignments. They're 4 times as likely to give us referrals. They're 3 times as likely to work with us again. So by being able to show that to our clients, then back it up with our Net Promoter Score numbers, it's a big value add for both our clients and our talent side. Using a third party, we had a 4.7 out of 5 on our score. It put us up as the best of staffing winners for both sides. We always just have a running Net Promoter Score survey too, and right now it scores a 79, which for that number, that the industry average for staffing firms, Pankaj, you'll have to remind me right now, I believe it's a 12.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, so that number actually puts us in the same tier as like a Nordstrom or a Costco, and that's a tangible number that we're able to show to our clients, again, to say, look, the consultants are enjoying their engagements with our clients and enjoying it by going through Dahl as well too. And so it's a helpful differentiator that resonates with our buyers.
Awesome. Hey, one question I just got from the audience, so I'm just going to throw this at you. Do Mick or Brad have any use cases where they use Sense for candidate engagement during the onboarding process? Um, and if so, what have you found successful there?
I can pick that one up. So on our global EOR side of our business, we tend to do a lot of lift and shifts, which is essentially we consider anything more than 25 to 50 active headcount that are being moved from an incumbent vendor onto TalentBurst as a lift and shift. So we do everything from 50 to we've done up to 1,000 contractors. And we definitely utilize Sense during this time to essentially, for example, because it's a large population, so if we need to disseminate information to them quick, hey, we really need you guys to get your background checks submitted immediately. Please try and do that by 5 p.m. today. You know, that's just quick, set the workflow, let it go. Similarly, I'm just trying to think what we do, but outside of, you know, just some of the onboarding type stuff, I don't think we utilize Sense during that time frame.
Yeah, and I can talk to that question a little bit for whoever asked that question. So first of all, a lot of our customers will use Sense in the onboarding process. Now, depending on what you consider onboarding, first of all, you know, as soon as somebody gets an offer, people are now already in a pre-onboarding process, right? I mean, you can immediately start telling them about, hey, you will be starting 2 weeks from now. Here is more information about the position. Here is more information about your manager. This is where you're supposed to show up. In the case of a light industrial customer, sometimes these are the pair of exact shoes you need to be wearing, or they won't let you in on the factory floor. In the case of, you know, an IT client, this is where you park. This is where you go for on the first day to get your security badge, right? I mean, everything is candidate experience. I can't tell you the number of customers or the number of responses we get from candidates where they say, I joined my assignment today. It was my first day. I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have an email. I didn't have a place to sit down. I was just, you know, twiddling my thumbs all day today. And you have to keep in mind, these people were just in the job market. They literally accepted your job a week ago, which means they could have had 3 other offers and they can leave you right now. So first of all, a lot of people will do that as an onboarding process. The second thing is, if you're talking about actual physical onboarding, hey, I need you to sign these 5 different forms. What a lot of our customers will do is they will basically integrate their onboarding systems via Sense. So for example, maybe you're using, you know, Employee Stream or what's now called Able for your onboarding. You might simply say, hey, Mick, your first day is in 2 weeks. Click on this link to start your onboarding, and you can click on that link and it takes you to the Employee Stream portal. So overall, Sense stays your system of engagement, but if you have to go out and go someplace else with like an onboarding firm to do onboarding, with a background check firm like a checker or something else to do background checks, these will all be navigated through via Sense. But in my life, I think of onboarding as couple of weeks before somebody starts and then 4 to 6 weeks after they start, and are they getting a white glove experience during that time? And you can very much orchestrate that using Sense.
I have one quick thing I just want to share. So a lot of our clients that tend to be in our high hazard payroll category, we need to conduct safety trainings, including, you know, videos on this is what you need to do, this is what you don't do. And also many of these workers have never used a VMS like a Fieldglass or a Beeline ahead of before to even submit their hours. So we actually have preset safety videos that are on Vimeo that we actually disseminate through Sense during the onboarding process. So we at least send them the safety, and then we also have like a Fieldglass training video, a Beeline training video that these people can actually see prior to starting, or even after they start, they can actually still refer back to that video if they're having trouble submitting their hours.
Awesome. Mick, you had something to say?
Yeah, we have a couple automated messages that go out right when the person's accepted an assignment, and just a couple reminders along the way. We actually just started with Able as well too, so we are looking at that automated integration where once person accepts, we put it through Bullhorn and it can kick them out that link. I will say that that's an area that we're seeing more of than before, is people accepting the offer and not getting started. So it's an area that we are looking to to add a little more automation into as well too, because as Pankaj was saying, people are accepting our offers right now and they got 3 other offers on the table. So being engaged with candidates during that life cycle is just as important as getting them started in the actual consultant life cycle.
Makes sense. All right. So, one other area I wanted to touch upon with both of you is employer branding. We haven't talked too much about that and just your company's sort of brand awareness. What role does that play with your buyers, and where can you, how do you promote your brand? How do you, use something like Sense to do that?
I can go first. So we're like we'd mentioned, we have 60 workflows. We have a database of about 16 million candidates in our JobDiva system that we can access. So we have one subject matter expert that sets the workflows in Sense. And she is our director of marketing and communications. And the reason we have centralized this function is so that all our branding, including our logo, our messaging, our look and feel of every single message is super professional, so that when whether potential candidates or existing employees or past employees get messages from us, it resonates with them, so that the next time they get a text message from TalentBurst, hey, Mr. Java programmer, are you looking for your next role? If so, click on this, It just kind of creates like this persona of TalentBurst, that it's a high touch, white glove staffing company, and they start believing in the brand. Just like, I love Nike shoes, right? I pretty much consider Nikes to be the best shoe. If I see it, I buy it, kind of a scenario. So similarly, I want these people to think of TalentBurst as a differentiated staffing company that I must respond or reply to that message from that recruiter. So it really helps us gain traction with them and build a super strong brand, which is a white glove brand for a staffing company in their mind.
Awesome. I love that example. Mick, how about you?
Yeah, so much of branding, especially for candidates right now, it's critical, as the candidate market is extremely tight. And so we're seeing candidates have a litany of opportunities out there. And the staffing industry, for a lot of people, has a little bit of a black eye to it. I mentioned again that Net Promoter Score average of a 12 is pretty low. The average online reviews for staffing firms are not great. And we view that as an opportunity to differentiate ourselves and to brand ourselves as being different than your typical staffing firm. And it's been showcased with our online reviews as well too. We really try to focus on making sure that we're asking people about their experience, asking them to share their experiences online as well too, just to get our name out there as much as possible, and to have those stories for other potential candidates to view as well too. So our clients are looking at it, and our candidates are looking. I can see on Glassdoor, over the last year, we had over 13,000 views. We're getting a few thousand views on our Glassdoor page per month. And what that means is candidates are not just going and applying to a job anymore, saying that this job matches my requirements. They're going and saying, do the values of this company match what I'm looking for? Is this a company that I want to join long term? And when people go and see it, they're seeing we're at a 4.7 on Glassdoor as well too, and seeing just a significant amount of people that are sharing their positive experiences working with us, and how working with us, either they stayed on multiple projects with us, or they've been hired on by the client and been able to move on to other roles within that organization as well too. And it's those stories that help build the brand of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Mick. I talk about this with clients all the time. We have seen several customers who will start engaging with Sense and their Net Promoter Score is 12, 15, 20, right where the industry average is. And then 6 months later, their Net Promoter Score is at 60, 70. And, part of it is just magic, right? This is the old magic that, hey, when you ask somebody, would you recommend our company, and somebody's a promoter, send them to social media, send them to Glassdoor, send them to Google reviews, send them to Yelp, Facebook, whatever it is that you guys use. And when somebody says, no, they don't like your company, don't send them to social media, ask them a different question and say, hey, what went wrong? How can we help you? So we've seen pretty much every Sense company. We have dozens of case studies around this live on our website, increase their NPS into the 70s and the 80s. And two things happen with that. One, it just basically attracts a lot more traffic because everybody's now coming to you. They're basically saying, oh, this company takes care of its people, let's go there, because contractors don't really care who they're working through. They just want to work through a good company. And second, because you have incoming traffic, a lot of our customers are actually able to reduce their spend on job boards, because if you're getting 20-25% of spend coming inbound to you, you don't need hundreds of thousands of people that you are paying, all the job boards for again and again. So yeah, again, interesting takeaway here is around NPS. It matters to your customers, it matters to your candidate, it matters to your own internal staff employees. It is a very easy way for you to track, the pulse of what everybody is feeling and what you should be doing with all of them. So anyway, I'm going to skip one section here, and just in the interest of time, I'm going to talk more about, how do you leverage technology? So, just in conclusion, I want to understand how all of you are leveraging, tech. I mean, you can't meet your clients' needs without obviously having great qualified candidates, right? And to build strong client relationships, you need great relationships. So, maybe just take like closing thoughts, like 3 to 4 minutes each, and talk to us about, you serve a different number of industries. What is your client engagement strategy? Maybe it's around verticals, maybe it's around, technology, but just leave some of our viewers with some words of wisdom.
I can go first. Pankaj, our strategy at TalentBurst is we have invested heavily over the past 3 to 4 years in automation. And we've built probably one of the industry's most advanced technology stacks. So we have Asana, Sense, NetSuite, JobDiva, WorkBright, so many other technologies out there that are fully integrated into our tech stack. And what our clients like is when we lay this out for them during an RFP presentation, they're like, wow, you use all of these technologies. So then we can actually dive deeper into how do we use each of them and what are we doing to actually provide our candidates with the best overall contractor experience, as well as how do the clients benefit from us having that. So I'll just take a sidestep away from Sense and just say, if you look at NetSuite, which is our accounting package, we have 99.95% accuracy on payroll. We processed over 1 million transactions last year. And when our clients see that number and they say, wow, you processed over 1 million paychecks last year, and they were this accurate, they know that our people get paid on time and they get paid accurately. And for a contractor population, many of whom are living paycheck to paycheck, that is very important data and very important for their daily life. So we definitely differentiate ourselves, by investing heavily in tech. We look at every single technology platform or technology product that's out there. But we definitely are keeping Sense at the core of our tech stack along with JobDiva, and they're fully integrated. And we're just happy that we're in this very stable scenario right now.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. Mick?
Just from a technology standpoint, I view my role as what can I do to get back to the basics for our recruiters and sales, and what can I take off their plate and automate so that they can focus their time on speaking directly with candidates, place them on assignment, and speaking directly with clients and bringing in orders. So for the last few years, it's been what tools can we leverage to help automate as much of that process as possible, including that consulting engagement as well too. And that's where we'd initially been using a lot of different types of technologies, and where Sense came in is that they're able to support us from the engagement of candidates, drip campaigns, alumni campaigns, referrals, engagement during their life cycle, net promoter scores, and also reaching out to clients as well too. And so it's been able to help automate so much of what we do. And right now, our recruiter numbers from where we were 2 years ago are not up that much, but we're up over 100% for our consultants out on assignment. What that means is our recruiters now have twice the amount of people out billing that they had just a few years ago, because they're able to automate so much of what they do that they're able to spend more time getting people on assignments rather than having to focus on so many other non-revenue producing parts of their role.
That's amazing.
The biggest takeaway.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, Mick, because this is one of the things that I talk about a lot, right? The fact that we work with several companies where they have hundreds, dozens of recruiters, but 75% of their time is spent doing everything but recruiting. They are either updating the ATS, they are either prospecting, they're either setting up meetings, rescheduling stuff, setting up interviews, just confirming the times work for people, but they're spending less than a fourth of their time in actually talking to a candidate or talking to a hiring manager. So this is my huge takeaway anyway, that, first of all, don't burden your recruiting teams. Take all the busy work away from them and automate that. Number one. Number two, candidates now have a very different expectation. They expect from a staffing company what they expect from a Nordstrom. Hey, remember my preferences. Remember how I like to get treated. I want an email, send me an email. I want a text message, send me a text message. You remember that, communicate with me based on how I like to be communicated. And it is very hard to do that personalization at scale unless you use some sort of technology. But, I wanted to bring all of this together for our audience to essentially say, hopefully this gave you some food for thought today. These are obviously, from the standpoint of Sense, we think of Brad and Mick as thought leaders in what they're doing with Sense. I mean, I can give you dozens and dozens of examples of people who are doing really good when it comes to talent engagement, but these guys have taken it a step further by not just doing talent engagement, but using talent engagement as a key differentiator to win business, to actually get in front of people and say, you are one of the most important companies in the world, whoever you are, Apple, Google, Chevron, Microsoft, Shell, McDonald's, you should be working with us because this is what we do with our people. And we can absolutely demonstrate that to you. And just as a quick recap for everybody in the audience, we offer every single thing that they talked about as a single platform. These are the 5 different products that Sense has today. Engage is our automation platform. Messaging is a 2-way text messaging tool. Chatbot is a conversational assistant, essentially completely built on AI. If you have thousands of people applying to jobs, have AI take care of screening them, and only 1% or 2% of those people who meet all of your criteria automatically get scheduled with a recruiter. So 100% automated. This is a question somebody had asked originally earlier in the platform on how do you track referrals. You can absolutely do that using a Sense module. And we not only can track referrals, if somebody's referral is successful, we can automatically pay them from the platform. We're the only ones who do that. And if somebody makes more than $600 a year, we can automatically generate a 1099. And lastly, our soon to be released Sense Discover module that is in beta with a few customers that does automated machine learning based job matching. A job opens up, we will tell you here are the top 10 candidates. A candidate is about to get redeployed, they're finishing their assignment, we'll tell you here are the top 10 jobs they can go to. So if you have more questions, please reach out to us. We would love to show you Sense. We'd love to tell you more about it. But if you have more questions for Mick and Brad, feel free to reach out to either of them. Their emails are right here, and they have both graciously agreed to take your questions.